Hello again, my darling young peoples. Today we have a story called Rosie's Babies. Here it is. Mum was putting the baby to bed and Rosie said, "I've got 2 babies and you've only got 1. 2, including you," said Mum. 1, 2. "I'm not a baby, I'm 4 years old," said Rosie. "Tell me about your babies," Mum said. And Rosie said, "My babies live in a bird's nest and they are nearly as big as me. They go out in the garden all by themselves and sometimes they make me cross." "Do they?" said Mum. "Yes, when they do silly things," said Rosie. "What silly things do they do?" asked Mum. And Rosie said, "My babies climbed a big mountain. That was silly because they couldn't get down. They jumped and they bumped on their bottoms." "Silly babies," said Mum. "Did they hurt themselves?" There they are, trying to get down. And Rosie said, "One of my babies hurt her knee. I bandaged it up and she cried and I said, 'Never mind, because I am kind.'" "I'm sure you are," said Mum. "What else do your babies do?" There she is, bandaging up the knee. And Rosie said, "My babies drive cars that are real ones and lorries and dumpers and boats. My babies are very good drivers." "What do your babies like doing best?" asked Mum. There they are, brum, 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 driving them like scooters. And Rosie said, "My babies like swings and rockers and dinosaurs. They go to the park when it's dark and there are no mums and dads who can see, only me." "Gracious," said Mum. "Aren't they scared?" There they are, being wild in the park. And Rosie said, "My babies are scared of the big dogs, but I'm not. I go grrr and frighten the big dogs away." "They are not very scared then?" asked Mum. "My babies know I will look after them," said Rosie. "I'm their mum." "How do you look after them?" Mum asked. And Rosie said, "I make their teas and I tell them stories and I take them for walks and I talk to them and I tell them that I love them." "That's a good way to look after babies," said Mum. "Do you make them nice things to eat, like pies and cakes?" And Rosie said, "My babies make their own pies, but they never eat them." "What do they eat?" asked Mum. And Rosie said, "My babies eat apples and apples and apples all the time, and grapes and pears, but they don't like the pips." "Most babies don't," said Mum. "Are you going to tell me more about your babies?" And Rosie thought and thought and thought, and then Rosie said, "My babies have gone to bed." "Just like this one," said Mum. There. "I don't want to talk about my babies anymore because they're asleep," said Rosie. "I don't want them to wake up or they'll cry." "We could talk very softly," said Mum. "Yes," said Rosie. "What will we talk about?" asked Mum. And Rosie said, "Me." And that's the end of the story. Puppy, leave it.